I should probably put the word out. Hopefully it's not in Portuguese. I'm not going to let the attract mode play. I'm sorry. Anytime Square Enix has an attract mode, they send out copyright flags. It's really dumb. Because, you know, they're still selling Dirge of Cerbreus out there somewhere. Maybe on their website. Okay. Let's let the stream catch up here. Looks like I'm live. Though my screen's not showing it. I'm getting mixed messages. The broadcasting page says this stream is offline. So I'm not seeing my video. But OBS is saying, yeah, you're good. So if you're in the chat, let me know if I'm live. I'm gonna quickly refresh this. I kind of don't want to, but we'll see. I'll just open a tab. Okay. Yeah, it still says I'm offline. Okay, let me close out of my browser and try it again. That is so strange. Okay, I'm gonna try it one more time. That is so weird. I'm not able to see my own settings. Hopefully I'm not streaming to the archives. I don't think I am, though. Nope. No attract mode. I think it has something to do with their new super YouTube chat or something. Ah, Jesus. I wanted to play this game so badly, too. Let me see if I can watch myself. Gaming.YouTube Hikikomori Media. Yeah, it doesn't even show me that whoever's in the chat. This is boo-boo. View as a returning subscriber. Okay. And we click on it. So strange. It doesn't even show me live. Okay, we're gonna just restart and try again. Okay, let's let this do its thing, and maybe I can see if I'm live yet. Hey, what do you know? I see myself on the stream. I think it's working. Nice. Take a swig. Welcome, guys. I'm playing some Final Fantasy VII, Dirge of Cerbreus, or Cerbreus, whatever you want to call it. This is kind of a Devil May Cry third-person shooter, third and first. It's something I haven't played since it launched around 2006. And you can kind of see me over here. I'm going through the reference tutorial just so I know how everything works. The music so far is really good. Okay, so we gotta recover. It's a melee. Yeah, I remember this. One thing I've heard about this game is the grinding is a little strange. So, like Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter, when you restart the game, you can carry over all your experience in Gil. So I might actually do that a couple of times early on so I can grind up Vincent a little bit. Close range, multiple targets, okay. I think I use mostly just the rifle. And then, yeah, you can add MP. I didn't know MP stood for Mako points. I guess it's no longer magic. Yep, limit break. You can turn into chaos in this game. Turrets. Kill chains. Okay. Menus. Customize. So it looks like I'm able to synthesize different weapons. Yeah, I think there's different barrels and muzzles and clips that you can add to your guns, as well as magic. Okay. Enough with the tutorials. Welcome, guys. I haven't played a game since last Saturday when I beat Mr. Mosquito on stream. I don't know if I'm going to play through this whole game in one sitting. This is, I believe this game takes like 23 hours to beat. I don't know if that includes the cutscenes. Probably not. But this is Dirge of Cerbreus Final Fantasy VII, aka that Vincent game. Yeah, I'm going to play on normal. I know that the American version is different from the Japanese one. Apparently they had two different Japanese versions of this game. One because the very first one sucked so bad that they stopped and put a little bit more development time into the American release. And apparently the American one is the superior version, but I guess, I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath in thinking that. It's far different than really any other Final Fantasy. I mean, it's more of an action game than it is a traditional Final Fantasy. Speaker's name? Sure, we'll keep that on. I'm not an invert player. Sight support? Semi-automatic. this takes place right after Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I think it actually takes place... So right there you can see Sephiroth's meteor coming down on Midgar. And that's going to destroy it, so Vincent and Yuffie are evacuating the city. And then 3 years flash, and Vincent is living in Calm, which is... I believe Calm is... Yeah, Calm is like the first town that you visit after Midgard. Look at that Yuffie butt shot. I believe that they started work on this directly after Advent Children. There was a plan of expanding the Final Fantasy VII timeline because there were some things that were a little vague, apparently. One of which, I think it was Katase, he was the director of this game. He was also a director on Chrono Trigger. He was like, yeah, I really enjoy Devil May Cry, and I think the only character that we have to really work with is Vincent, because he has a very vague story. Oh shit. Oops. So yeah, they decided to focus on Vincent's storyline, and I think Vincent's a very interesting character because it deals more with that whole genetically modified organism part of Final Fantasy VII. You can see Hojo's slumped over dead body there. So it delves more into kind of the origins of Sephiroth and the origins of Vincent, because with Final Fantasy VII's original translation, there was either the way it was written was extremely vague or poorly written, so you just really didn't know too much about Vincent and the experiments of Hojo and who I think it's Lucrezia was, who's Vincent's waifu. Not really wife, but he fell in love with her. So this is kind of wrapping up the Final Fantasy VII storyline. Chem Psychopath, welcome. He says, more like not Final Fantasy. I think this actually ties pretty well into the storyline, but then it gets a little Kingdom Hearts-ish for my taste near the end. I like some of the choices this game makes, but not all of them. So I'm kind of watching how this story plays out and seeing if I can recall some of the highlights here. I played this my freshman year of college, and I was so hyped about it because personally I think Vincent was one of the cooler characters in Final Fantasy VII, even though he really has nothing to do with the overall plot other than just being a side character. But I like his transformations, how he always turned into like some monstrosities and like a Frankenstein and a behemoth and such. But yeah, this does kind of have a bit of a Kingdom Hearts, I'm so sorry, more flavor to it, and then it also kind of meshes with Devil May Cry, and it's kind of like a jack of all trades but master of none. It's visually it looks good in the CG department, but pretty much everything else is just riding that line of mediocrity. Janissary, it's not really light versus darkness. It's more like science versus nature, just like Final Fantasy VII was. Like Final Fantasy VII's whole big storyline. I mean, there's that whole segregation based on other races in there. I mean, yeah, I guess you could go with that angle, but ultimately I think it's science versus nature. Like, have we gone too far? But so this is the most recent Final Fantasy VII game. So there's a big gap. It's like almost like a 10 or 11 year gap since we've gotten a Final Fantasy VII game. So it's a strange note to end the story on, for sure. And people want to call this a gaiden or a side story. And it kind of is, but it kind of isn't because it ties directly into the movie and Final Fantasy VII. And there's some references to Crisis Core in there, so it's like, it really does flesh out the universe. Red Shard says, quick, someone make a joke about Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. It's kind of the dark, brooding Shadow the Hedgehog of the franchise. But I still think Vincent's a little cool. They didn't completely trash his character or anything. There wasn't much there to trash in the first place. So, if I remember the story correctly, this is a team called Deep Ground. And Deep Ground are kind of the brothers of Sephiroth. They're more of Hojo's experiments. And I think they're out to capture more people and modify them and make them slaves or something along those lines. And they're kind of like what the children of Sephiroth were from Advent Children. They're infused with Mako energy. The story is kind of stupid, but, you know, it's stylistic. It's style over substance here. Anyway, you start off in Calm. Calm is the first village in Final Fantasy VII that you visit after Midgar. After you escape. Welcome, Mod. Sentry is down. Sephiroth is his husbando.
What's going on?
I mean, Barrett Wallace, he's probably the warmest bear out there. If I had to pick, I'd pick Barrett. Janissary says, it looks like the people in Calm are going through a Polish ghetto in those containers. Yeah. It's that Japanese interpretation of Nazi imagery. Okay, so the aiming and targeting is very slow. And look how big that reticle is. It's huge. And I guess if you just lock on, it automatically locks on if somebody goes in that circle. And then here's the melee combat. From what I remember, it's very clunky and stiff, as you can't really chain combos except for, like, you know, these canned combos that they have by tapping the button. Before I get too far into this, how are the audio levels? Is the game too loud? Am I too loud? I've turned down my gain on my microphone because I know I'm loud as shit. So just let me know. I am going to intentionally die a few times on the first level. There's a reason for that. Because this has kind of like a Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter experience carryover. So like when you die and restart, it carries over your experience. So you can kind of do a little bit of grinding early on. Okay, we're going to make the game a little bit louder, says Red Shard. Red Shard, welcome to the stream. I haven't seen you in a stream in a while, so it's good to see you. One of my oldest subscribers. Okay, the game is kind of quiet on its own, so if you can hear Vincent's grunts, let me know. Hey, Chem Psychopath, it's not your internet. YouTube is switching over. It's new YouTube gaming. There's like a whole new chat mode. And Saturday is a popular day to stream, so it's just pretty much everyone. Oh my gosh, that was an explosive barrel. You get more experience for chaining kills together. Bullets are very plentiful unless you're playing on hard mode. I played through most of this game by meleeing, just because I like to get up in the enemies' faces, but I think the cleanup is far better with melee. But when I get the rifle, the big sniper rifle, I played through the game mostly with that. I've got this installed to my HD loader. It was a retail copy, so I do own this game. I picked up this game in a game of... Like, I had $50, and some lady on Facebook was selling her son's PS2 collection, so this was in it for $50. So I got this and, like, all the Shin Megami Tensei games all in one. I bet her son's, like, really pissed off and hates his mom, if he ever found out. Or, consequently, the son's probably dead, and I inherited some dead kids collection. But regardless, it went to a good home. I do play the games I buy.
Don't kill me!
Whoa. You can move and shoot in this game, strafe left and right. You can strafe left and right as so long as there's, you know, room to move around. But once you do, I mean, you just dodge and shoot. That's all this game is. I do like some of the designs here, though. For a late-in-life PS2 game, I think it came out in 2006. So, I mean, it looks still pretty good. Not the best, but good. I think I have that video up on my channel somewhere. Hikikomori pickups. It's like one of the only pickup videos I ever did. Mako point. So you step here and you absorb energy, and then you can use materia. Okay. And I got my first materia. They're like these little keychains that you put on your gun, kind of like a cell phone in Japan, but Vincent puts it on his gun. And it does affect the stats, and it gives you some powers. I'll be using that soon. I'm looking for these white containers. White containers are the hidden objective within the... within each mission, you find something that you can destroy, and you can unlock submissions and save people, and that affects your rank, and your rank determines how much experience and gold you can get at the end of each mission. But I'm not going for S rank by any stretch during this run, because I'm intentionally dying a few times and restarting on this level, so you might see me play this level a few times. Because Gil in experience is extremely hard to come by in this game. So let's read some of the chat here. It says, her son decided to choose a career in acting, so his mom decided to earn some money back. Oh, that sounds like my freshman year of college. I was going for a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting. That didn't last long. Let's see here. Red Shard says, does anyone else feel like the game could only exist on the PS2 a couple of generations ago? Sure was an interesting time. That's what I cover mostly on my channel nowadays. I cover the oddities that could only exist on the PS2, you know? Few games take that many chances outside of, you know, existing on the 3DS or Vita's libraries. Maybe the Nintendo Switch might step that up, but I doubt it. I have some serious doubts about that system. But we'll get into that some other time. So that helicopter you see, that's the first boss in the game. I think it's the first boss in the game. It's been a while. But I remember it was a pain in the ass because it locks onto you and shoots all these missiles on top of having a turret. You know what? I was supposed to shoot that barrel over there, but I didn't. If you look in the bottom left corner, I do have key items there that I can swap between, so I just used a potion. They're basically hotkeys. I didn't know about those the first time I played, so my first time I played this game was very miserable. I honestly should have played the tutorial, so I only have myself to blame. It's just as floaty as I remember. Red Shard enjoys that I cover a lot of PS2 oddities. Well, I'm gonna keep on doing that. I've got a bunch more Simple Series games that I just got a hold of, and I have a couple more on the way. So, look forward to that. I also have two major games for the PS4 that come in about a week. I have Gravity Rush 2 and Yakuza 0, so I might be a little preoccupied with those for a little bit, but I'll do my best. And I also have I'm working on my master's degree, so it looks like this new class I'm taking is going to have a lot of homework, so I would say January through March, I'm going to have a little less content than usual, but we'll see how it goes. Century is Down says he remembers beating this game a long time ago when it first came out, but not remembering anything about it. I'm kind of right there with you. I don't remember much about it, other than like a few key details. Yeah, I do remember the Kate Sith segments too. Those were not fun. There's a whole stealth section in this game. I think it goes for a really long level where you're Kate Sith and you have to get by all these deep ground members, and you really don't have any method of defense. And then if you die, you have to go all the way back. Speaking of dying and going all the way back, pretty soon I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my first intentional death. Should I save that kid? Oh, I guess I can't. Save the abducted girl. Okay, if you look inside that fountain, that's one of those canisters I have to shoot for a bonus objective. I don't know. Somebody's sniping me. Oh, he's coming from over here. The invisible walls are ridiculous in this game. Like, I can't jump into that fountain, but I can shoot. Oh my god, just break it. Please break that canister. Oh, I hate this. Oh, I see where he's shooting me from. Maybe? Hey, Wild Potato, how's it going? All the character animations are super stiff. Okay. There it is. So if you look in the top right, it auto-saves every canister you break, so you don't... Like, if I fail this mission, I believe I don't have to find it again, which is nice. You have to find all the gil crates, otherwise you're going to be screwed later on when you're trying to buy stuff. It's extremely scarce in this game. I know many people don't like Cait Sith in Final Fantasy VII, but he was one of my favorite characters because he kind of captured that old spirit of Final Fantasy. Just something bizarre. Because Final Fantasy VII's story isn't necessarily brooding and dark, but it's still too serious in places, and I think Cait Sith helps liven some things up. Sentry is down says, Final Fantasies usually have some wacko party member. Those are my favorite kind. There's always a blue mage, like somebody like Quina from Final Fantasy IX, that turns the gameplay on its head. Okay, so this is another part of the customization. You get these scopes, and if I click in R3, I can zoom in, like, to a ridiculous degree. But, honestly, your auto-lock does a lot of the heavy lifting for you, so you don't have to do too much sniping early on. Five chain. Okay, now that I've got the card key, I'm gonna go take my first death. But I can't run into the flames. So, if you're just joining this stream, you'll get to see me replay the first level. I'm gonna do that twice, and then I'll just push on through the game. I'm not saying it's mandatory to do that, but otherwise this game's gonna be very miserable if I don't. Okay. Look, guys, it's the ending of Crisis Core. Okay, so if you hit restart, it calculates all your points here. So I can exchange all my experience points for gil, or I can add it to my overall total and bank it for later. So I can get 800 gil, which isn't nothing, so... So now when I restart this level, I'll be at level 4. Welcome, Grotus. Wild Potato's like, I gotta say, that's a very big aiming reticle. Yeah, it is. One of the biggest in any game I've ever played. Only the biggest gaming rectals aiming rectals on Hikikomori Media. We need it to take up 1/6 of the real estate on the screen. Okay, so when I get to those 3 guards again, I'm going to die one more time, and then I should be around level 6 or 7, which is good, because then that'll add to my overall total, and I think it gives me back all my items every time I do that, and it also gives me gil that I carry over. There's also a grinding spot, like on Chapter 9, where I can constantly do that same thing to get like massive experience and convert it to gil. It's a real... You know this game is broken when they had to add that in. Like there was no natural progression throughout this game. But just like Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter, I don't mind. I think it's an interesting mechanic. Not the best in the world, but still interesting. So I gotta touch this gate, and then those guards will spawn, and then I kill them. So here they are. You can click in the stick too and go into first person mode, but you can't see the barrel of the gun. But the moment you do a melee, it goes back to third. Oops. Grota says, I own this game, but I haven't bothered trying it out. Well, hopefully this will give you a little taste of what to expect. It's riveting. 10 out of 10. I might as well use the limit breaker just to show you guys what it's all about. I'll use... Yeah, let's go ahead and... So I just use the potion. So here's the limit breaker. It turns me into Behemoth. And using this properly, like I always save it for the boss fights because, I mean, most of the boss fights in this game are bullet sponges. Skip. I don't know how long it lasts. There's not an indicator that I can see on the screen. There's nothing you can do to save that girl. This reminds me a lot of Altered Beast. There was a European version of Altered Beast that never made it over to the US. I have it on my HD loader, but I haven't played it yet. So it lasts about a minute. That's a long time. I was gonna play a simple series game today, but I'm like, this one's pretty good, so I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I am playing through one right now. Looks like it's gonna take me a little bit to beat it. I try and beat every game that I review on the channel, so I get the full picture. And sometimes I have to do a new game plus mode, so it takes a little bit sometimes. Janissary says it reminds me of the werewolf levels from Sonic Unleashed. Sadly enough, I've played through that one. I think I got it at a pawn shop for a couple of dollars. I'm like, let's see this shit. I did not... honestly, the werehog parts of that game were the worst part of it. I think. I just like the traditional Sonic portions of it. Wild Potato says, this game's level design looks way more medieval than whatever Final Fantasy VII was going for. Well, they did base this somewhat off the design of 7. Calm definitely isn't this big. It's far smaller and linear in the game. This, like, if you look around, this looks like the setting for Attack on Titan. It looks like there should be some anime chicks with 3D machines zipping around. See you later, Grotus. Still waiting on that top 5 list. I'm not a Sonic expert, though. I've only played, like, I've only beaten the original 4 or 5 Sonic games, like up to Sonic CD. And, you know, I've played Sonic 06 back in the day, and I realized it was shit. And I never picked it up again. My brother's really big into the Sonic Adventure series. Not a fan.
You should be alright.
I did play Sonic Generations when that came out, and I enjoyed the 2D segments of it. Okay, I'm gonna get killed. You know what? I'm gonna push past these guys a little bit, and I'll die at the boss fight. And then we'll work our way all the way up there. Because there's just too much experience to farm here. I was reading on GameFAQs before I started playing this, just to get a feel of what I should be looking out for while I'm playing. And some guy was like, yeah, I just kept restarting until I was level 27. And then some guy's like, you think that's good? I grinded to level 99. And I was like, what? I'm not going to do that. People on GameFAQs are weird. Yeah, this is the long barrel, which turns it into a shotgun. And I use that quite a bit. Okay, so here's our first boss. I'm gonna deliberately die to him. I honestly could kill him, but let's just go ahead and die. The easiest way to die is just shoot all these barrels. I can probably chain them. I don't want to chain too many of them, though. Otherwise, I'll run out of ways to die. Speedrunner tactics, you know it. Let's see how many we calculated. Look how much gil I can get for that. So I'm at level 5? Okay. I'm gonna die one more time. I feel a little emasculated that that dude on GameFAQs grinded to level 25. Level 8. That's what I'm aiming for. Oh, it restarts me right here at the Dragonfly? Okay, well, I guess I'll just beat the Dragonfly boss then. He doesn't seem that hard. This auto-aim is ridiculous. I'm barely even aiming at him. Look at his health. Okay, I guess he has different modes or something. Here we go. Now I can shoot the barrels, chain them together, get some easy experience. Those are those missiles that I remember. I guess the boxes count as part of your chains for some reason? Yeah, I guess I can keep it alive and just get a crazy chain. Or not. That chain lasts forever. This is definitely not Devil May Cry. Okay, let's find where our guy went. Oh, I can dash with square. Looks like it's worthless, though. That's as far as he can dash. That can't be the whole boss fight. I'm gonna skip the storyline. Okay, now I'm completely confused. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Because now I'm apparently at a base somewhere. Okay, let's go ahead and use a Phoenix down, if I can. That gives me an auto life. You can't return to any of the spots, so you can only hold one Phoenix down at a time. So you might as well just use them as you come across them. Let's add on the sniper scope. I forgot to do that. Does it decrease my power? Oh, it adds to the weight of the barrel. Barely. Okay. Short barrel. Lightens the weapon, increases the rate of fire. I honestly don't need a huge rate of fire. Hey, what's up, Mario Party Wars? Welcome to the stream. Janissary's like, man, are they serious? That was a boss fight? What happened? It was a pathetic boss fight. But I remember these dudes right here. These are part of Deep Ground. I think they're the brothers of Sephiroth or something like that.
The proto-materia. Tell us where it is.
They look like they were ripped straight out of Kingdom Hearts. Like the Tron level.
Vice.
They're just out of reach.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Why is it in every
This way.
Square Enix game, the fate of the world depends on some psychic kid?
Luck is on your side.
Is he just gonna leave her?
Sorry.
I am Azul. We will meet again.
Okay, then. Vincent, you gonna say anything about that?
What happened here? Vincent Valentine. Are you all right?
That's Reeve,
Reeve. Nice to see you again.
aka Kate Sith.
Outfit, though.
It took me a while to decide which costume I'd put on for today. But enough of the small talk. Who are those soldiers that just left?
I don't know. The large one called himself Azul.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't skip the cutscenes, then I'll understand what's going on.
Azul? The Cerulean?
I'm trying to skip all the pre-rendered ones. Anything in real time like this, I'll leave. Because Square Enix throws out some copyright flags anytime you want to watch an AMV.
We'll discuss this later. WRO troops have arrived and commenced rescue operations. We could use your help, Vincent.
Reeve. I don't know what you're up to, but I want absolutely no part of it.
Is that Steve Blum?
But you fought alongside us 3 years ago. We need your help once more.
I remember this now. This is a red herring.
Reeve.
It's a fucking red herring. There it is.
That was a close one. I never was good at fighting. Luckily, I came out wearing Reeve. You're really not a bad bloke, are you, Vincent? Ah, you pretend not to care, but you always come through in the end.
All right. What do you want?
Look
to
at
do?
Reeve's face down on the ground. It's all animated out. It looks like a Naruto expression.
I'll leave the method up to you. When you've tidied things up, meet me at the square in front of the East Church.
Yeah, so that begs the question, does Reeve communicate through Kate Sith using, like, a microphone? Like, that's one thing I've wanted to know is, I know that was a huge part of Final Fantasy VII, where you find out Kate Sith was actually a robot puppet controlled by Reeve. So does Reeve just sit around on a fucking walkie-talkie making this Scottish accent just to patronize everyone? Or is that part of the robot? Like, does he... Is that just like some sort of voice AI? I like to think it's Reeve just being a douchebag. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and swap and use that potion. They're dropping potions like crazy around here. Oh my god, lock-on, please work! There we go, there we go. There are headshots in this game, but God knows you can only get them with the sniper rifle. Or by pure random chance. Just shot a fireball. Doesn't really have an AoE on it like I remember. But then again, I think, like any Final Fantasy, you have to work up to it. Very generous with the potions, though. Jesus! They can stun lock you pretty quickly. Maybe that's why I should equip the short barrel. Do some blind fire.
What's wrong?
Sentry is down says Kate Sith has the deepest lore. Hey retro game players, welcome to the stream. Hey look, I got some teammates here. I wonder if they'll be useful. Don't answer that, I already know. Apparently everyone in this world also has HP. I think this would be a good grind spot, so maybe I should take another death here. The frames are dropping like crazy around. Maybe it's because all these characters on the screen. Mario Party Wars is in here. We got Retro Game Players, Janissary, Red Shard, Wild Potato. Shoutouts, shoutouts, shoutouts. Sentry is down. What? I can request supplies? Information on the organization, directions to the church, or nothing. Mechanically, nothing is probably what Vincent would say, but let's ask about supplies. Vital rations. Okay, so this is like an auto potion that'll pop in. And same thing with MP. I guess that's kind of cool, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, and I can't select it again? Nope, you can only ask once.
The WRO was originally established 3 years ago after Meteorfall. With Genova war hero Reeve Chuesti at its helm, our organization is dedicated to aiding the healing process of the planet, as well as protecting it from any who attempt further harm. Sir,
Jesus, the typos, yeah.
proceed to the East Church just past these buildings.
You think with all the extra time they spent redeveloping this game for American audiences, they would catch a few of those, but I think everyone was under the same impression, like, who cares? The PS2 is dying. Let's just get it out before 2007.
Over there!
Okay.
The Griffin. Oh, yeah. Okay, so just like Devil May Cry, you can, like, customize loadouts, so I'm gonna make this one the Griffin. We're gonna go with a shorter barrel and I guess fire materia because I don't really have any other choice. Can I go back here? Oh, the frames drop over in the center of calm. Welcome, Bob Excalibur. He says, Genova War. It was a few weirdos punching John Carpenter's The Thing in the face. Not much of a war. I thought it had a lot more to do with, was it Aerith's race, the Tetra? It was more about the Tetra being exploited, I thought, than it was. And then Genova showing up. So it was like the Tetra knew how to deal with Genova's shit. And they were kind of like the hippies of the planet. They were trying to, like, warn everyone. And Hojo's like, let me fuck one of you. And then experiment with the offspring.
Thank you very much. And
Hojo's the real MVP in this game. I think Hojo fucked more women than anyone else in Final Fantasy VII. How he did it, I don't know. Because he was kind of like a rambling madman throughout most of the game. But he does look kind of husbando material. Like in the CG portions, like when you see him later on in this game. So Vincent got like the friend zone, so he's fighting his way out of the friend zone. Unleashing the inner demons. Pent up sexual angst. You know, the subtext is all there. Silent Hill gets a lot of credit, but Dirge of Cerbreus is, like, Shakespearean. Retro Game Player says, do you purposely tweet messages in different languages? Did it tweet in Portuguese again? I don't know how to fix that. I don't know why every time I'm playing a game, it's like, yeah, let's tweet it in Portuguese, but you guys showed up, so apparently either you can read Portuguese or somebody's coming by. Wild Potato says, why does this look like a launch PS2 game? I'm like, in some areas it does, And I think it's because they made a lot of concessions in the graphics to make it run at 60 frames. But it doesn't always run at 60 frames, as you can clearly tell when I transition from area to area. Bob Excalibur says, Hojo's amazing in Crisis Core. He's an evil motherfucker. Yeah, Crisis Core is, like, highly underrated when it comes to the story. Crisis Core made me tear up at the very end. Even though, like, if you played through Final Fantasy VII, you know the end was coming eventually. I just thought Zack was, like, one of the most well-developed characters throughout the entire series.
Thank you, Mr. Valentine.
Retro Game Player says it tweeted in French this time. Okay. Well. That's interesting. I don't know why YouTube decided to tweet that I was live streaming in French, but maybe it's trying to diversify, you know, my audience a little bit for me. Okay, we got the card key. Honestly, I'm gonna take my first death. I'm gonna die at least one time per level, because this game gets very bullet spongy and grindy and doesn't really provide a lot of experience for getting an S rank. It's pathetic how little experience and gold you get for getting an S rank in this game. So it's more worth it to die and reload. We got a sniper. Bob Excalibur said, it made me tear up, and then, like, Gact showed up and tore the cannon in half. Yeah, Nomura, what can I say? He always has to add his favorite pretty boy in every game. Yeah, next up, Mario Party War says, next up's my channel's gonna tweet out Chinese or Japanese. Well, hopefully. I don't think I've ever had a Japanese person show up to my channel. For a channel called Hikikomori Media, I have a 0% Japanese audience. Just a bunch of weebs like me. It's our old friend, the machine gun, or the dragonfly. I wanted to call it the warship. I can't even melee it? That's gonna suck if I run out of ammo. Here's a little trick when you're fighting bosses. Just use up all your MP. And then just run around in circles. That dash does nothing. The dash is the most pathetic thing in any action game I've ever played. I don't even think they built in invisibility frames when you do this dash. Look at it! As I dash, I still get hit. Okay, I'm gonna take a real death here to the dragonfly, and I'll read the chat. So then I can reload with all my experience. It did damage when I meleeed it? Well, I wasn't able to see it. Maybe it was because of the camera. Okay, so the Phoenix Down's going to resurrect me here. That wasn't much of a resurrection animation. I'm watching the resurrection animation. They just, like, set him up instantly. He doesn't even push himself off the ground. Look how many hits I have to take to die. And when I resurrect, I should be around level 10. Wild Potato asks if I've heard of a Taiwanese horror game called Detention. It just came out on Steam. I think I read an article about it on Siliconera. It looked interesting. That was an intentional death, one of many, for these speed strats. Okay, so I can get 7,400 gil or add it to the total, so we're just gonna do that. It'll probably start me over at the boss fight, and it did. And then I have no choice but to fight it here. That's a lot of magic. Okay, so I'm gonna go look for some NP circles, Mako points. They might be hidden under these boxes. And they are. And if you'll notice, it resurrected me at full health, and it also gave me my Phoenix down back. I'm playing on normal mode. They removed easy mode from the North American release, so it was available in the Japanese version. Then they removed it from the North American release, and then on the second release of this game, they put it back in. So, I don't know. They did that a lot with NES games, too. Maybe it's because they didn't want all the North Americans renting this game and beating it over a weekend like I did. The first time I played this. Oh, jeez. There's another Phoenix down that I can use to my advantage if I need to. I know it seems like I'm complaining a lot about the experience grind in this game and not having a lot of experience and gil provided to you throughout. I mean, it's probably not necessary to do a ton of grinding, because if you look at the layout of each one of these fights, there's about 8 potions on the field, a Phoenix down, plenty of ammo, and you can restart with full health at the boss fight, so anyone can beat this game. And here's all the cool Dante moves that you can't do in the game. One punch. I'm not gonna sing that at the top of my lungs. I'm wondering if I can defend like that in the game. Block some bullets. Because the dash isn't doing anything useful. Retro Game Players ask, Miles, what do you think of the Square RPG or JRPG for the Switch? Is it going to be any good? Wasn't that called Octo... Not Octodad, but it was like Octo Map? Octomap or something like that. It looked interesting. It looked like a Vanillaware or a Bravely Default type of game. Octopath, that's what it's called. I mean, honestly, it was just a sizzle reel trailer, so I didn't get too much out of it.
Good work, Vincent. The enemy is
I didn't get too much out of the Nintendo Direct stream in general. I remember tuning in and watching that dude play some sick techno beats, and I thought he was going to transition into a new Animal Crossing and play some KK Slider, but he didn't. I'll tell you one thing though, the Nintendo Direct stream didn't sell me on a Nintendo Switch until like 2018, when No More Heroes 3 comes out and whatever Tosh's game's gonna be. That was the most ridiculous shit ever. Tosh came out and he's like, I'm really excited about the Nintendo Switch. And then the lights came down on him. I was like, why was he even there? And then Suda came out and he's like, here's this character art for Travis Touchdown. So that made me a little disappointed, but I'm not going to buy a Nintendo Switch at launch. I will wait it out. I did make some money off of Bitcoins whenever Bitcoins were at their highest. So I have enough money to buy a PlayStation VR whenever Sony finally gets their shit together and releases another wave. So all these... that was the .hack mail. That's when I got a tweet. Whenever Sony gets their shit together and releases another wave, so all these scalpers that are selling these PlayStation VR headsets for $600. So I'm not going to buy one at $600. Okay, we got one that's going to increase defense. Barrels for different guns. I think I'll just modify it. So let's see what I can do here. Additional firepower. This one does firepower. Firepower. Lighter. And lighter. Okay, so that one's going to take it up to 80. And that one's going to take it up to 105. So I guess I'm just going to do the one that increases it the most. From 60 to 105. Well, why wouldn't I do that? I guess it's because it's the most expensive upgrade there. And then I have the longer barrel attached to it, so that's going to take it... It's going to shave it down from 1650 to 1200. Okay, let's read the chat before I get into this. Oh boy. That's a lot. Mario Party Wars says, I hope they do provide plenty for the Switch, considering that they should be getting plenty of third-party support. Hopefully it works out. Well, from the presentation, there were only like 3 dudes that came out in support of the Switch. It was EA, Suda51, and Tosh Nagosh. Retro Game Player said he missed the live stream. It was very good. For what it was. I mean, it was one of the bigger Switch or one of the bigger Nintendo Directs I've seen. They kind of went all out in showing things, but everything was either a trailer or a promise. Mario Party Wars says it was all right. Mario Party Wars also says PlayStation VR is a lot of fun. It was. I tried the demonstration at a GameStop a few months back, and I was very excited about it, but at the time I didn't have enough money for it. And now I do, but there's really no affordable ones out there until Sony comes out and reprints the thing. And everyone's like, I'm stuck with the Xbox One. Speaking of which, I'm selling mine. So if you know anyone who wants to buy one, I'm probably just going to sell it locally, you know. I'm not selling it to GameStop. So yeah, I'm officially selling my Xbox One. Scalebound was the final straw. The third final straw. I was very upset when they canceled that. I had it pre-ordered ever since there was a pre-order SKU on Amazon. It was the one last hope I had for the system. And that was just destroyed. Like, I do blame Microsoft. Anyone who says this is Platinum's fault hasn't looked hard enough at Microsoft's history of working with Japanese game developers and screwing them over. I've done a couple videos on it, actually, so you can go and look at those. I have no idea what's going on. All I know, it's super-powered people and I just gotta kill them. That's it. Retro Game Player says he was able to find a couple of PSVRs in stock. Well, the thing is, I want to buy it from Amazon if I can, so I don't have to pay sales tax and I can get free shipping. I want to buy it for a solid $400 and not, like, pay taxes and all that shit on it. Yeah, Wild Potato is like, Scalebound got canceled. It did. Retro Game Players, Scalebound was supposed to be Hideki Kamiya, the creator of Bayonetta, the creator of Devil May Cry, the creator of Okami, God Hand, Beautiful Joe. This guy, his entire career, he's wanted to make Scalebound. It was supposed to be his dream game. He got with Microsoft. Microsoft was like, yeah, I'm gonna fund this for you. And so apparently the development, and this is all hearsay, he hasn't come out and gave the truth. The truth might not come out for a while. But he said something along the lines of, or the internal rumor was, it started off as a single-player kind of a Monster Hunter action game where you had a giant dragon that was a part of your combos. So your dude would go around with a sword and attack, and then you could chain it into your dragon attacking and swap back and forth and fight all these giant monsters. And then apparently Microsoft was like, well, we can't make money off of this, and we need some Xbox Live money, so we're going to shoehorn in some multiplayer. And allegedly, they couldn't keep the game at a solid 30 frames when they put in multiplayer. And that also is in part due to the OS requiring Kinect. Like, they put, I think, a gig of the RAM dedicated to using the Kinect, and this always online DRM. So there's some like old archaic shit that's holding the Xbox One from its full potential, because honestly, the Xbox One is capable of very similar performance of the PlayStation 4, but because they would have to rework the entire OS, they've just never done that. So that, in conjunction with that, in the online, the game wasn't running at a satisfying performance. And if you know anything about Platinum Studios, they like to lock their games at 60 frames. So apparently Platinum was having to make too many compromises, and somewhere Microsoft was like, we need it out by this date, and Platinum's like, well, in order for us to get it polished, it's not going to meet that deadline. So I guess like the decision came down to either they were going to create a mediocre game and meet a deadline, or drop the game and just let it die. So I guess ultimately that's what a good thing, because Scalebound, I wouldn't want it to be shitty. I would rather Kamiya be able to make his dream game in the conditions that he wants. But who knows? That's it, though, with me and Xbox One. I'm done with it. There wasn't a single good exclusive except for Dark Dreams Don't Die and maybe Crimson Dragon that would have kept me with it, but even those alone, we know Dark Dreams Don't Die is dead. I never played Sunset Overdrive, so maybe that's good, but I don't have Xbox Live. I never purchased it, so like half of the game is lost on me. So yeah, the Xbox One's kind of a, I think it's a bigger failure than the Wii U, in my honest opinion. I know there's somebody out there that's going to disagree, because they like Halo and they like Gears of War and Xbox Live as a service. But I think Sony has definitely stepped it up as far as their online service and PlayStation Plus. They had some shitty things happen with the PlayStation 3 and getting that online, but I think they've ironed out a lot of that. There hasn't been as many breaches or any major ones that I've heard, and I've never had a problem with the PS4 playing online or live streaming, so it's a decent competitor. But Nintendo, that's another thing, like with the Nintendo Switch, is they've never figured out online. And every time Nintendo figures out online, they drop the service and support for it. Happened with the Wii, with hosting all their shit on the GameSpy servers. What the fuck were they thinking? This isn't on Rails level, so I can talk during it. And it happened with the Wii U. They're not updating Splatoon anymore, or having any Splatfests. Who knows what else they're going to do with Mario Maker on the Wii U. Maybe they'll shift focus on 3DS. Seems like they're just willing to let the Wii U die, which is a shame, because I do enjoy the system. Despite all the hiccups with third-party shit. And some of that was out of Nintendo's control. Ubisoft kind of fucked him over on a couple occasions. EA fucked him over on a couple of occasions. This is literally the entire level, by the way. This is a good spot to grind. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna read the chat while this is going on. Janissary says, "God damn, I partially wish you didn't say anything, because that's too depressing to hear. Sorry. Will Skillbound ever be made again?" That I don't know. I think the IP is owned by Microsoft. It's one of those situations like where that's why D4 couldn't come to the PS4, but it could come out to Windows 10. Because Microsoft, they own the property and they're not gonna sell it. So who knows, man. I doubt Microsoft's gonna let go of Scalebound after investing so much money into it. Same situation with Phantom Dust, which makes me really sad. They show off Phantom Dust, and they make all these big promises, and then they fire all the developers and close the studio down, so I don't know what's going to happen with it. But I think that from here on out, if Microsoft, I'm going to say if, I doubt they will, releases another console outside the Scorpio,
Are you all right?
like any Japanese developer is going to look at them with some trepidation and say, well, fuck it, I'm going to Sony or I'm going to Nintendo, or I'll release it independently.
That transmission we just saw troubles.
It sucks because Microsoft used to be one of the kings. They had some decent-ass Japanese games on the original Xbox. They had great Japanese fighting games. They had Shenmue 2, Lost Odyssey on the 360, Blue Dragon, Tales of Vesperia, Breakdown on the Xbox original, Jet Set Radio, or it was Jet Grind Radio, but Sega GT, Outrun. I could go on, but they didn't want to bother appealing to the Japanese demographic. They didn't want to, you know, stylize their Xbox in any meaningful way to appeal to tastes outside of America. Like, that was one of the biggest complaints that Japanese people had about the original Xbox, was it was too bulky and ugly looking. You know, they never made an Xbox Slim, or when they released alternate shell colors, it was like the Mountain Dew Xbox One. So, c'est la vie. Okay, let me pause a little bit and read this. Wild Potato Industries, in my opinion, Halo stopped being good after ODST. I think that was the last one I played. I played through 3, and I enjoyed 3 when it came out. It was a big deal. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm getting burnt out on this. There needs to be more time in between releases. Retro Game Player says, can he take what was created so far in Scalebound and do a Kickstarter? Or does MS own the game? What he can do is probably pull a Keiji Inafune and like repurpose it, but who knows? Maybe it's just time wasted for him. Maybe he has better ideas. I'd rather Kamiya work on something else that he has complete control over than have to make a game that's not scale-bound. Yeah, I doubt he has access to any of the assets that were contracted or funded by Microsoft, which is a shame, but just to see all that potential wasted. Microsoft's made a lot of promises to Japanese game lovers. Like, they were supposed to have released a Shenmue HD 1 and 2, and that apparently was near completion, and then they just dropped the ball somewhere along the lines. So I don't know who... I don't know if that's ever going to happen, because obviously Sony is in bed with Yu Suzuki after pulling him out on stage during E3 2015, was it? Or 16? I think it was 2015. So yeah, we're probably not going to see any more Shenmue or wild experiments with Japanese games on a Microsoft console. Just not happening. At least for now, at least. So I haven't been talking about this game for a little bit, even though I've been playing it. I'm fighting these Crimson Hounds. I don't think they're related to Red 13. I know Hojo was experimenting on Red 13's race, and that was one of the goals in the game that was subtly implied in the storyline, was he was trying to crossbreed Aerith and Red 13, trying to get them to mate somehow, and then splice their genes to create some ultimate race. Final Fantasy went some weird places. Okay, yeah, I hit him with the magic there. I got the red one too. He was the main dude. Who builds an invisible wall out in the middle of the desert? Okay, let's read the chat. Mario Party War says, Janissary depends, because if enough people support them, it can definitely work. Talking about kickstarting Scalebound. I don't know. Here's the thing. Indie game developments, Kickstarters, that sort of thing, it works when you're dealing with 2D assets. When you're dealing with something that doesn't use an expensive engine to license, and a whole giant team of 3D modelers, and, you know, I just don't see many 3D Kickstarters for 3D games happening. And I have my doubts about Shenmue 3. Highly. I think it's going to be seen as similar, and as far as like high expectations not meeting up with the reality of what it takes to make a 3D game, especially a game with a lot of attention to detail like Shenmue was. I just don't think it's going to have as many of the features that people loved about Shenmue. And if it does, I'd be impressed, but we know how Yu Suzuki is with timelines and expectations and overspending his budget, so allegedly Shenmue 3 is coming out this December. I'll believe it when I see it. You can queue up this stream and make a highlight and tell me I'm wrong that it's not coming out in 2017, or it is coming out in 2017. But then I'll tell you, like, what's the actual result? What's the quality of the game? Is it going to be Shenmue 3 Episode 1? You know? Is it going to help fund the rest of the game? It's fine to have faith in it. It's fine to have faith in it. Mario Party Wars. You can have faith in any dream you want, but the reality is, I know Yu Suzuki as a developer. I know his history, and I think he became a legend because he made arcade games with ambitions that he could sell as a businessman to arcades out there when the arcade scene was alive, and games with quick pick up and play capabilities. And then the moment he became overambitious, he created something beautiful like Shenmue, but he was also kind of partially responsible for bankrupting Sega. So he also has that legacy behind him. And I'm a huge fan of Shenmue, despite what I put on my channel. I played through it about a year after it came out, when the Dreamcast was dying or near death. And I picked up a Dreamcast for really cheap, and I love Shenmue. But that's one of those once-in-a-lifetime games that I just don't... I mean, how much of Shenmue 3 has he shown off since 2015? You know, this should be late in development at this point if it's coming out in December. So maybe a trailer to give all the backers, you know, a taste of how the game's going to turn out at this point wouldn't be unheard of, or, you know, asking for too much. Janissary says, the only big Kickstarter project I've seen lately that has any sort of legs is Ukulele. Yeah, that's actually happening. It's done. I mean, the only other one I can think of is Shovel Knight. Bloodstain might turn out well because they're learning from the mistakes of Mighty Number 9. And I watched Retro Game Players. He has a video on his channel where he plays the demo of Bloodstained. And it looked great. It looked like it was going to turn out to be something bigger than what was promised. And that's always a good thing. Janissary says the latest upload on their official Shenmue 3 page is a video showing a village hut. I'll tell you something. There was another video similar to that was released on the Shenmue 1 HD project. They hired the Korean developer that was working on Shenmue 1 HD. He rendered all these real-time assets in Unreal 4. And I think they just probably borrowed a lot of that from that dude. They probably just took like 75% of his labor is all on that one Korean guy. I mean, that's not a bad thing. If they hire somebody so competent and that has a love of Shenmue, that's cool. I don't think it's just one Korean guy, but I know they have a very small team. Nothing compared to the powerhouse that they had working on Shenmue on the Sega Saturn and eventually the Dreamcast, you know? I'm essentially sleepwalking through this game at this point. Not a whole ton going on. It's kind of rinse and repeat gameplay-wise. I don't know if you guys know this, but Loveless over here is an actual play that's tied into the Final Fantasy VII lore. There's a huge part of Final Fantasy Crisis Core that deals with that play, Loveless. And it also makes an appearance within Final Fantasy VII. And there's a little callback to it in the remake. Okay, so I got the third gun, which is the Hydra. Did I? Okay, I have the Griffin. This one is the sniper rifle, and it's mandatory. Especially with some of the boss fights that are bullet sponges. Yeah, there's a stage play in Final Fantasy VII called Loveless. It's kind of their Romeo and Juliet of the world. The story is not important in this game. Up until the end. The end is where things get really fun and it becomes more of a shoot 'em up. It has a good opening scene and a good closer, and the middle just meanders through. I think I'm on another helicopter fight, or is it a tank? Nope, apparently I'm dealing with snipers. I like this guy's design. It looks like he has a PlayStation VR strapped to his head. Is he gonna miss? I wonder. Oh, there's more than one sniper here. Did I kill him? And this is the only sniping in the game, and it's clunky. The snipers do a ton of damage, as, you know, expected. But there's no cover system in this game. You just run out into the sniper's alley and get fired upon. It really doesn't matter where you shoot them. You get crits just for using the rifle. And, like, look how... I think this is a poor choice, and I guess it makes sense why they added the neon outline to some of these enemies, because they all blend in with the washed out gray and blue background, you know? Even the bullets have, like, such a tiny trace line to them that you just can't really pay attention to where they're coming from. Is there one on ground level? Okay.
A kid.
Steve Blum, save him. Can I just snipe with a regular rifle? I can. So the sniper's a little pointless at this stage of the game. Okay, I think I killed everyone. Wild Potato says, didn't Dear Esther become a stage play recently? I hope not. For the audience sake. Imagine if Gone Home became... Imagine if Gone Home became a stage play. And just some chick with pink dyed hair comes out on the stage and the stage is cluttered with shit. And she just like reads aloud every one of her lesbian sisters' notes. And picks up things and slowly puts them down. No, thank you. Riveting. Touched me on so many levels. My favorite part was when she went up into the attic on the stage and then read about how her sister ran away with another woman. It's like anything I've ever heard. I feel kind of sorely because I did play through Gone Home recently this summer. I beat that game in 20 minutes, and I was actually taking my time with it. Maybe I'm a fast reader. Where did that kid go? Everything looks the same. I don't have the card key. I should have paid attention. Looks like there's a secret area up there. I'm also kind of looking around for these tubes that I'm supposed to shoot for bonuses. If I find these white ones, I unlock these secret levels, which are shooting galleries in a nutshell. Wild Potato says, remember when games had soundtracks and not just dull ambiance? I don't mind ambiance, but you have to have somebody who knows how to use it to enhance the game. Like either through sound effects or subtle things in the background. I'm talking, of course, about Akira Yamaoka. Like, he was a master of ambiance. But yeah. There's a real technique to knowing when to use silence and when the music's overbearing or repetitive. I always like it when a game will come out and like use music in a clever way. Like they could have a theme song and then use that theme song that will change depending on the action or the area you're in. But yeah, mostly all these indie games just have the same droning soundtrack where it's just a soundscape of low bass notes. And then the occasional violin strings when you pick up an item. I'm so bored with this game right now. I don't know how you guys have managed to stick with me, but it seems as if there's only 4 or 5 dudes on a screen at a time, and you just run up to them point blank and shoot them in the face or melee them. Rinse, repeat. So I'm sorry if this is boring. There are some good moments here and there, but this is a slog. Hey, there's that kid. Are you gonna give me the key card?
The warehouse. I know how to get there. It's through that gate.
I have some fond memories of Final Fantasy VII and Vincent. I got, when I was in, I think it was the 4th grade, Final Fantasy VII took the world by storm. And the first time I ever saw video game branding that made me confused, but also made me excited for a game was Dr. Pepper had launched some Final Fantasy VII campaign. And I remember seeing Vincent on a box of Dr. Pepper, and he had his gun, and he was just like looking all brooding and menacing. And I thought, man, I've got to get this game. And then there was this redneck kid who was like into motocross and mudding and riding his bikes and, you know, just getting into trouble. He was like a real mischief maker kind of guy. Not the game, but just in general. And I remember that one of my friends, Dustin, had pre-ordered Final Fantasy VII from Toys R Us. And when he pre-ordered it from Toys R Us, he got the Final Fantasy VII shirt that had the entire cast on it, drawn by Tetsuya Nomura. And I was like, man, I didn't know they made video game shirts like that, and I really, really wanted it. And my friend Dustin gave it to this kid named Brett, who was like into all this motocross stuff, because like he was Brett's friend, but he was also my friend. I was like, why would he give that shirt to Brett? Brett doesn't play RPGs. He doesn't like PlayStation. And I remember just being super jealous of Brett because he had that shirt, and I really wanted that shirt. So one day, when I went to school, I saw Brett, and he was wearing that shirt, and I was like obviously I was like mean mugging him, like, man, what the fuck? You know that shirt looks dumb on you with your rat tail and your stupid ass freckles, and I know you're not going to appreciate that shirt like I would appreciate that shirt. That same day, I see Brett later on, and I'm looking at that shirt, and there's just a giant mustard stain all over fucking Kate Sith and Red 13. And I just, like, it triggered me, like, big time. I was really, really pissed off, and I'm like, what the fuck? That mustard is never going to come off. I know he had like a fucking corn dog, and he was probably, you know, life of the party, telling some joke, and he just rubbed that fucking corn dog on that shirt, probably to spite me. And every time after that, every time I saw him wear that shirt, there was that giant ass mustard stain. And I was like, you know, Dustin, if you would have given me that shirt, I would have rinsed that thing on a cold, delicate cycle. I would have used the best detergent I could find, like colorless, used fabric softener, starched it, I would have taken good care of that shirt, and you gave it to that fucking redneck Brett. So from that point forward, every time I see that cast of Final Fantasy VII characters all on that line, all hand illustrated by Tetsuya Nomura, I get a little pissed off. Like, part of my eye twitches, and I think back to Brett and that fucking mustard stain. Every time I eat a corn dog, like, part of me, like, in the back of my mind is thinking, like, man, you could have had that cool limited edition KB Toys or Toys R Us shirt. And Dustin chose a redneck who did not even play Final Fantasy VII. Like, fucking Dustin, I would hang out with you on weekends and play Saga Frontier and every Final Fantasy game and go out and print out strategy guides from Game Sages back when it was Game Sages, and you fucking give him that shirt to get mustard all over it? I know I should have let this go years ago, but I'm really still kind of pissed off about it. And I don't think any therapy that I'll go through in the rest of my life will ever erase that memory I have. The kids were shitty back then. I think they're worse now, but that could be a generational gap kind of thing. I'm roaming around looking for that kid, but so I can get into that warehouse, and I just lost track telling this story. My bad. Hey, Bianca Violin, welcome. You beat up rednecks at night right now. Right now? No. I have nothing against rednecks. They're the backbone of our economy. You know, they put the parts on the cars. They make the factory lines work. They're good people. But as far, like, I assume redneck kids and ignorant parents are the reason why some games that you would get on the PlayStation 1 were scratched to shit in back. They were the kids that would fucking, like, leave their disc face down or face up and just, like, fucking stack them and scratch them and throw them like frisbees and put their sodas on top of them. So why it's really hard to find a good working copy of, you know, Xenogears, an untouched one. I don't have that card key yet because I wasn't paying attention telling my story. I blame you guys for letting me go on my tangents. Wild Potato's like, instead of seeing red now, you see yellow. Yep. I see a giant glaze of mustard over my eyes. Hey, there's that kid. So this is where I'm supposed to go. Okay, back on track. I actually like mustard. I really enjoy mustard on my, you know, on my sandwiches. I actually eat my tater tots with mustard on them instead of ketchup or barbecue. Maybe it's the kraut in me. Bianca Violin's like, must be exposure therapy every time you go down the mustard aisle. I have nothing against mustard, but anytime I see a mustard stain on a t-shirt, I think less of a person. And I don't think that's ever going to change. Materia floater. What does that do? I guess it allows me to use double the materia. What happened? Oh, that kid. He's being taken away by a dog.
Thanks.
And I shot that kid at least 3 times now. He should be dead. Yeah, exposure therapy with mustard. I recommend it. You know, face your inner demons. I should cover all my white shirts in mustard. I actually did cover a white shirt in mustard for a video back when I made the hyperspray video. I covered it in mustard and spray paint. That video is something else. Not one of my finest moments. This game is so boring now. This is somewhat an escort mission. I have to wait for that kid to walk with me to show me this door that I can plainly see across the map. It's like, I wonder where the entrance is. Is it that door over there? Now I gotta kill all these stupid snipers. Where are they even coming from? Let's switch to that dumb gun. I guess they're coming from this side. Oh, I see. There's no reason to zoom in because the sniper rifle just auto-locks for you from half a mile away. Janissary says, I've never played Xenogears, but I'm stoked for Xenogears 2 for the OST. Well, you're thinking of Xenoblade. Xenogears came out on the PlayStation 1, and then Xenosaga. They're all spiritually related because they're made by Monolith, who's the same team, like the same director, throughout the years. And then there's Xenoblade Chronicles. I guess Xenoblade Chronicles X wasn't the true sequel to Xenoblade, so I guess it's picking up off of Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii and the 3DS. Yeah, the soundtrack's phenomenal. The overworld theme reminds me of Dancing Queen. Oh my god, kid, will you just walk across that bridge? I usually don't complain about escort missions, but this is a slog. He walks like 3 steps and he's like, Vincent, are you coming? Just go. Go without me. You're invincible, kid. Just go. Mario Party Word says, Xenogears blew me away as a kid. Oh, me too. I played, I had the demo that came with Final Fantasy VIII, I believe. I played that demo over and over again, and I live in a place where RPGs are very scarce, so I wasn't able to find a copy till much, much later when I worked at a GameStop. That one guy slowed this kid down. This is the worst.
Transmission received. The keeper is approaching. Watch your back.
Let this be over. I finally got the card key. Okay, did Monolith do Shogo, or was that Game Engine? I'm not sure. Nuker says, acknowledge my entrance to the stream. Well, there you have it. Acknowledged.
Right. Thanks, kid.
Don't thank that kid. He added an extra 20 minutes to this stream.
I couldn't shoot. Mom and Dad.
Oh, this is just like that kid from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children that nobody cared about. The kid who was infected with that strain of Mako or something like that. The live stream fucked him up. Basically, what they recycled from here.
Help me avenge their death.
Janissary says, Xenogears on the PS Vita, is that good? Anything that you play from PlayStation 1 on the Vita is good. It's got the OLED screen, you can do the original aspect ratio, you can use dual analog, highly recommended. So if you want to play something on the Vita, you can. You can also get the PlayStation TV and play through it that way. I'm not a purist, I do have Xenogears for the PlayStation 1, But I think going back and playing anything on the PlayStation 1 on the original hardware is a waste of time, because the PS2 can emulate the loading times twice as fast and do some texture smoothing. But yeah, just play it on the Vita. You'll be good. I recommend anyone go out there and buy the Vita. I have no delusions that it can be saved. It's pretty much dead at this point outside of Japanese games that NIS publishes or Xseed, which is fine. But the Vita is a solid system. There's some great games out there for just about anyone. And the moment you pick it up, you're like, why the fuck didn't this pick up? And the one answer that I come back to is the memory card, the memory card, the memory card. Oh yeah, I do have that key card, so I can go open that gate now. Nuker's like, when's that Guitar Man stream coming out? I'm thinking about doing another Guitar Man stream now that I've been warmed up and I remember how to play. That Guitar Man stream's like 3 hours long, and I know I could beat it in about an hour. So I'll probably play through it again. Mario Party War says, what I want to see from Nintendo is a new Super Mario RPG. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see. It seems like Nintendo and Square Enix had some bad blood between the original Super Mario RPG, and they both parted ways as far as doing crossovers. I'm never going to say never, but if you want something that's really good, play the Brother series on the Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS. All the Brother games are good. Paper Mario 1 and 2, great games. And then skip pretty much all the other ones. I can't vouch for Color Splash. I just started a file on that. It's not ideally what I wanted. Graphically and gameplay-wise, it's... like, graphically and story-wise, it's decent. The gameplay is just a slog because of that stupid sticker system. Feels like I have no investment in Mario because everything's dependent on, like, you could just have God tier stickers and just steamroll the entire game, so it's definitely not my favorite. I was a little ticked off because they're like, oh, well, Sticker Star sold really well. I was like, well, it doesn't mean that people enjoyed it. They probably bought it thinking it would be some other game and then got disgruntled and traded it in, like I did. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to redo my levels here because, look, it says I'm level 2. That could be the gun I'm using. Let's check Vincent's status. I'm actually level 10. My defense is the highest part, but my strength is whack. So, I think I'll just do some reloading grinding here. So I'll let this dude kill me, and I'll read the chat. Limited Run is keeping the Vita alive. Yeah, I just bought Lone Survivor, which got a Vita and a PS4 version. Fuck! I hit quit. Okay, damn it. It's saved. Hopefully it's saved right after that kid stuff. I need to pay attention when I'm doing menus. Oh my god, I gotta do this all over again. Okay, well, I'll just walk with the boy the entire time.
Thanks.
I mean, it wasn't that long, but I hate this part of the game. Next time I won't be as stupid. I can read the chat, though. Mario Party Wars says the Vita was great, couldn't compete with the 3DS. Well, yeah, the 3DS had so many different add-ons to it. It kind of was like Sega's life cycle. It had the 3DS, which I bought at launch, and then they dropped it $80, and then they came out with the 3DS XL. And then to add on to it, they added the dual analog stick that you could buy and add on to it. And then they're like, that's not good enough. Let's make the new 3DS, which is a stupid name, that expands the RAM in it by 4 and has a bit of a better graphics processor in it and includes that little dual nub on it. So yeah, it seems like Nintendo's... I don't know. If they said that the Nintendo 3DS is going to continue their life cycle in tandem with the Switch. So who knows how long they'll keep that promise. Because the 3DS and the 2DS are still very popular and have a high install base. The Switch is... who knows? I hope it finds success. But it remains to be seen. I mean, like, your system's only as good as your library of games. And they've shown, like, maybe 3 solid games and then the promise of, like, 5 other cool ones. So hopefully that'll be enough to get people excited. Yeah, Bianca Violin makes a good point. The memory cards for the PS Vita was like the biggest mistake they could have made. There's no reason they had to go proprietary other than maybe they were afraid of piracy, but I mean, either way, it was just a matter of time before somebody hacked it, and the Vita is hacked now. Like, you can put games on it, but you'll have to pay like $150 if you want like a 64 gigabyte card. So it comes at a price. Wild Potato really enjoyed Vagrant Story. I like Vagrant Story, but I prefer Parasite Eve if we're going to talk about using the same engine. I think Vagrant Story is good. Like, I like that it takes place in Ivalice. I like the atmosphere of Vagrant Story, but the gameplay is a little slow. And you constantly have to switch out weapons and armor to get decent at it.
Transmission received. The keeper is approaching. Watch your back.
Bianca Violin says, I'll be going back to a Vita when the Switch comes out. Not putting up with paying for online. That was free on every other platform. Yeah, I agree. Hey, there's a little Cloud cameo there. I agree. I have no desire to pay Nintendo anything for their online service when their online service has been absolutely shitty for the past, we'll say four systems, like all the way back to the GameCube.
Avenge.
And like including the Nintendo DS and 3DS. Like, they haven't proven that their service is worth paying for. And I was really weirded out whenever Kimishima, he's the new director at Nintendo, he comes out and he says, oh yeah, we've got a smartphone app where you can talk to your friends and set up invites on your smartphone. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. I just want to be able to use my Switch and click on my friend and invite them to my game and let that be that. I don't want to micromanage things. I had to do that with Monster Hunter on the 3DS. I had to set up a game with my friends like on Facebook or something and then get them all in a Skype chat and then have my phone next to my freaking head while we were playing through Monster Hunter. It doesn't sound like fun. Because it's not. Janissary says, I like Thousand Year Door. Yeah, Thousand Year Door is the shit. one of the best games ever. Let's see. Janissary says, or Bianca Violin says, no difference. You can still play the games online without a subscription. With the Switch, you'll need a subscription to trade, like Ditto in Pokemon. Something that was and should be free. Yes, agreed. Should be free. Mario Party Wars enjoyed Mario and Luigi. The Bro Saga is great. Yeah, I'm really distracted tonight. I'm sorry, guys. I've been reading the chat because I got 8 people in here and I'm just super happy to see everyone. And I love it when the streams, like when people turn up and we're all talking about some shit that's going down. It's better than me making a video about all the drama going on in the game world for clicks. I'd much rather play a game and then also give you some shout outs and recall some painful childhood memories involving mustard stains on t-shirts, so I can be triggered all over again. Okay, what I had intended to do here was get killed by a guy and then pay out my experience so I could level up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this dude kill me. I'll kill one of them. It's been a while since I've cashed out my experience points. Okay, so this is some shit that I heard about the Nintendo Switch. If you subscribe to whatever their Nintendo service is, you get one virtual console game each month. And then you get that virtual console game for just that 1 month, and then it expires, and you can't play it anymore. Like, what the fuck is the point? Couldn't they just give that to you? Is it really that much money to give you something like Earthbound? Okay, I didn't level up. Everyone's like, we love you, Hikiko. Thank you, guys. Somebody out there does. Okay, I'm going to take a quick pee break and get a snack and some more water. God damn it. I got to do this escort mission again. Why did I restart there? Okay. I'm going to put on the title card here. I'll be right back here in a minute. Hey, I'm back. And everyone's here. That's awesome. Thanks for hanging. I had to use the restroom, you know, because I'm a human. And I also had to heat up my leftover chili. I made some amazing chili. There's a giant ice storm going across the southern and mid part of America right now. So I thought in advance, like, I want to make some chili. I haven't made some in a very long time. So I made some Hikikomori chili. The recipe, I might post that on Twitter later. But it's essentially kidney beans, pinto beans. I brown some ground beef and bacon grease, and I put some McCormick chili mix in there. And then I top it with sour cream, shredded cheese, jalapenos, and sriracha. And I cook it in a crock pot. I mix it all together in a crock pot and slow cook it. It tastes great on the first day, but the second day, like after it's kind of, I would say, basted overnight in the refrigerator, it's really good. You can add a little bit of sugar if you like sweetness to your chili, too. Oh, and stewed tomatoes. Stewed tomatoes. So there's your recipe. Hikikomori cooks. You know, I should do that. I should do a little cooking show, because I do a cook occasionally, and the things I cook are, like, things that you can make pretty quickly and are very low maintenance.
Over here.
Bianca Violin says, I couldn't retain any of those ingredients, but if it tastes good, bon appetit. This is a bit of a spicier mix than I usually make. Mostly due to adding the sriracha. I've done stuff like add, not ghost peppers, but habaneros. Like, I've simmered habaneros and put it in chili before, but it doesn't always turn out the best. I honestly don't like the flavor of habaneros. I used to, like, eat hot peppers thinking I was a badass, but I honestly prefer the more pickly vinegar taste of the jalapenos, and I think it cuts through a lot of the fat and grease that you would get from using hamburger meat. I also sometimes just use chicken in my chili, and chicken chili is delicious. So you're gonna watch me eat that on stream once it cools down. Only here can you watch a live chili eating stream in tandem with Dirge of Cerbreus. That's the kind of quality I provide on this channel. Janissary's like, please do a cooking show like Kirk Almighty does, only more refined. I like Kirk Almighty's kirking around. I made the theme song for that. I hope he continues to make more cooking related videos, because Kirk is a real chef. He knows how to cook. He makes fantastic ramen. Every time I go over to his place or he comes over to mine, he brings his pot with him. He makes a miso stock, some eggs, and meat stock, and just delicious. Like, he's a really good cook. Oh my god, I'm not going to do the ghost pepper challenge. I have no desire to do ghost peppers, okay, guys? It's like, here, be miserable for the rest of the week. Maybe if somebody paid me enough. I mean, I have a very low price point. If somebody paid me enough, maybe I'd do a ghost pepper challenge, but I think it would kill me. I don't have a high tolerance like I used to. Where the hell did that kid go? Did they steal him? God damn it. Where did that kid go? I hate this level. This is the worst level in the game. Yeah, Kirk is an actual chef. I mean, chefs make good money, and they also get the benefit of making good food for people. So, Kirkin around, he honestly had this really good idea. I think he did it once on his channel. It was called Nuke Dukem. And it was, the idea was that Jarrett would go out and buy a frozen food of some kind and then like cook it and then review it. And I was like, man, this sounds awesome. I would tune into that every time because I've eaten some frozen foods, but I don't think I have an exquisite palate to tell you if they're any good or not. Like when I get frozen foods, it's usually just like a frozen pizza or Swedish meatballs, and like that's as far as I go usually. Some Hot Pockets. Okay, I'm gonna try this chili. Oh, it's good. Okay, let's find this kid. Such a slow level. Such a slow game. I should just change up games. If you guys have any requests in the chat, because this is going nowhere fast. I think that's what I'm going to do. I am sick of Dirge Cerbreus. I think we can all concur. Let's change up the game. Mario Party Wars once did the Ghost Pepper Challenge for $100. Not worth it. If somebody offered me $500, definitely, I'd eat it.